You're so cute. Hi, I'm Genous, and I'm an alcoholic. Patty, thank you so much. It's funny, 9 months, I said to someone this morning that this is enough time to have a child. And in a way, I feel a little reborn myself. How much time do I have? 8 o'clock? Who said that? Congratulations to all the chip takers. Happy birthday, Zach. I always feel so proud when I see someone take a chip, and it tickles me pink when I see someone take a cake. When I was little, my grandmother told me that everyone in the world is my brother and sister. And somewhere along the way, that wasn't so for me. I was born in Tehran, and under Islamic law at that time, a child under the age of 5 goes to the father when the parents get divorced. So my father had custody, and he decided to send me to the States to live with some family. I came here with my grandmother, who was very Islamic, and she prayed to God 3 times a day, and it was a God that I was in absolute terror of. She was a very strong woman, and she was very masculine, so I became very masculine, and I used to say when I was little that I would never get married until I had my own house and my own car. That way if my husband and I ever got in an argument, I had a place to go. And I haven't yet gotten married. Obviously, I don't have the house and car yet. I have the car, no house. When the hostage crisis happened, it was a time in my life where friends were really important and being social was really important. And when I would walk to the school bus, kids would throw snowballs at me and tell me to go back to my own country. And on the way back, if there was rocks, they would throw rocks. So somewhere along the way, I lost the faith in my grandmother's words that everyone in this world is my brother and sister. And it wasn't until she died my senior year in high school, and I had to be in the hospital to translate for her. I had to give her the morphine shots, and I had to take care of her, and I resented that deeply. What the program has given me, going through steps 4 through 9 especially, is that all the things in my life that I resented, such as my grandmother and having to have me take care of her, I'm grateful for. I'm so grateful that I was the one that got to take care of her. I'm so grateful for my father, who I hated all my life for abandoning me when I got my first gift of love, which was freedom. I got to come to America, and I'm getting hot up here already. Thank you. I got to come to America and be free, and to have a dream, and to live as a free woman. If my life was in Iran, things would be so much different. Very different. And I'm grateful that it's not. I had my first drink when I was 16, and I don't know if any of you remember Everclear.
Oh, God.
That was the only thing in my uncle's cabinet that I could refill the bottle back with water. So I took half of the bottle out. My girlfriend and I were about to go out to the teen night at the club where they only served Coke. And we drank Everclear and pineapple juice.
Oh, my God.
And to this day, I haven't been able to touch pineapple juice. So within a half an hour after drinking, I blacked out, and for about 2 days straight, I had a very strong hangover. And what I liked about it was that I got a lot of attention from my family. All of a sudden, the little girl that I wasn't very talked to, wasn't didn't feel very loved, had a lot of attention. My uncles were screaming at me, my grandmother was screaming at me, I couldn't go to school, and I enjoyed not feeling a thing. I enjoyed passing out. That was kind of fun. And it progressed to 9 months ago, where my life was out of control. I lied to every friend I had. I manipulated every boyfriend I had. I cheated everyone. I had never been faithful to a boyfriend, and I thought that was a cool thing. And I remember one ex-boyfriend in particular bought me a hat, and it said bitch on it. And I thought, that's a really cool thing. I'm a bitch. Well, what's funny is I've taken those things down now in my apartment. Those things are no longer a part of me. And I even had my sister sent me, or actually my cousin, I call her my sister, she even sent me a Super Bitch t-shirt. I don't wear that anymore. The S for me stands for super sober. And I love that. My life today, when I wake up, I have no panic attacks. When I used to wake up when I was using, and marijuana is also part of my story, I would wake up in the morning, have a joint, and I was able not to feel anything. I was able to forget my past. And what's funny is that your past never really becomes forgotten. You may try to bury things, at least I did. I tried to bury everything. When I got into college, I moved away from that small town that I lived, and I started telling people I was from Greece. Then I started telling people I'm from Italy. I would make up my background because my background wasn't good enough for my friends. My background wasn't good enough when I was little. And so I started, living in my own mind. I started fantasizing about everything. The next thing you know, I'm in college studying psychology, and I drop out. Then the next thing you know, I'm telling people I have a master's already in psychology. And the list of lies just grows to the point where I don't know what's me anymore. I've really lost touch with me. And for the past 5 years, I've had people in my life that have been in AA, but I didn't know it. One class in particular that touched me was a social psychology class where we had to analyze our own lives, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't analyze my past. So I begged the professor to give me an extension, and he did, and even after 6 months, I still couldn't write the damn paper. I got an F for the class, and the class always haunted me. So a year later, I went back to him and I said, I want to take this class over. And I did. And that was the first time that I got to honestly tell somebody about me. And that enabled me to go to my friends that I had lied to, that I was from Greece or Italy or Turkey or wherever, and open up and say, look, I need to tell you something that's just killing me. Because every time I would lie, it would kill a part of me. And I sat each one of my best friends down, and my first girlfriend, Jill, when I told her, I said, I've got something really important to tell you. I'm not from Greece, I'm from Iran. And she said, so? I couldn't believe it. My friend didn't care. How awesome is that? So little by little, I began to see that, lying wasn't a way to go. And that professor, at one time, when I did finish the paper, and at the bottom of my page, I remember in class when he was handing them back, I was so nervous. I was going all the way to the end of, the 10 pages to look for my grade, and he gave me an A. And at the bottom, he wrote, "What is life asking of you now?" And later I found out, a couple years ago, I went back to Illinois to visit, and I made a stop in his office. And I think he knew that I was an addict of some sort. I was an alcoholic, and all he had to say to me was one sentence that I never forgot: nothing changes if nothing changes. And he was a member of AA, and I never had a clue. And then when I moved here, I moved in with a man who was 11 years sober. And I would sit in Hermosa Beach in a beautiful condo in my room and smoke pot all day and drink wine all night. And he never once said, I think you need a meeting. He never once said, why don't you come with me? Instead, he just let me go through the motions that I had to go through. And I greatly appreciate him for doing that. And then the wine, the vodka, the coke, the marijuana, nothing worked for me. My life was beginning to be like the Groundhog Day movie, where every day was just like the last. And I thought, oh my God, what am I doing with myself? So I remember I called a friend, and I was always calling friends, telling them my problems. I've got this going on, I've got that going on. And my friends didn't know how to help me. I had a boyfriend who was a doctor, and he would say to me, Jen, why don't you put the marijuana away and just have a glass of wine at night? Well, the glass of wine turned into a bottle, and then I needed another. It wasn't enough. And he didn't understand what alcoholism meant. And I didn't at that time either. So I got a hold of a friend, and that friend got a hold of someone that was at the meetings here. And it was my very first meeting, this room. And I remember I couldn't even look at anyone in the eyes. I just came in, sat down, and when somebody would say something at the podium that meant something to me, that's when I would look up. And the funniest thing is, it wasn't until I came into these rooms that thing that my grandmother said about everyone being my brother and sister, I felt that in these rooms. And I realized, you know, not only my first 30 days, I needed to be here. I couldn't go anywhere else. I needed to be in a seat in an AA meeting. Then after that, the need really turned into a want. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be sober. I wanted to have a life. And today, now with my 9 months, my life has done a complete 180. I was so ready to do the fourth step when I got here, but I had to do the first three first for me. And the fourth step for me was throwing up, was for me to be able to just sit down and throw everything up on paper. And I remember I told my sponsor that I was ready, and my sponsor said, well, great, how many pages do you have? I said, I have one. And my sponsor said, well, I think maybe we need to, you know, wait until you can, you know, think of some more things. And then I had to paint my room, and I had so much work to do that I couldn't, you know, take the time for my fourth step. And when I was in enough pain, I went through it, and we worked on my 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th all in one day. And by the time I was done, I was ready for my amends. And that completely changed my life. 2 weeks ago, I went to a store and I bought a few things, and she didn't charge me for one of the items, which was 20 bucks. Now, 9 months ago, I would have said, yeah, cool, you know, I got a deal today. Without even thinking about it, I just turned back around, walked back in the store, and I said, you didn't charge me for something. And as I'm saying it, I can't believe I'm saying it. What has happened to me? I like it. I like the fact that I am honest with my friends. I like the fact that I have people that call me just to see how I'm doing today. And I used to wake up and I used to have weeks and months of depression, just, you know, endless circles. And what's funny is I may get depressed, but it only lasts a minute. Or maybe even half a day. It never even stretches out for a 24-hour period of time. And I love that. I love the people of Alcoholics Anonymous. I think we are kind of special in a way. My ex used to say, you know, Jen, you're very self-centered. And I didn't understand what he meant by that. What do you mean I'm self-centered? Isn't everything about me? Isn't when we go to a movie about me? Isn't when we go to dinner where I want to go? What do you mean? After I had my first 60 days, I got into a major car accident, and I got out of the car, and I was shaking, and this guy helped me walk across the street, and all he kept saying to me is, God is with you. God is with you. I don't remember his face, but I always remember what he had to say to me. And I remember that night I called my boyfriend and I said, you know, I got in a car accident. I'm going to need to borrow one of your cars tomorrow. I got to work. And he wasn't home, so I went to a friend's house, and my friend happened to be my dealer. And my dealer knows that, you know, I've gone sober and what have you, so he didn't try to, you know, push anything on me. And I said, but, you know, I've got to work tomorrow, and I don't want to, I don't want to be in pain. You got some Tylenol or something? And he gave me a Vicodin. I'd never had a Vicodin before in my life, and I lost my sobriety date. And the next day when I went to the hospital, they gave me a Vicodin, so that one didn't count. But what's funny is the next morning, I got a hold of my boyfriend, and he said, where have you been? And I said, well, I've been at so-and-so's all night. And he said, well, how come, you know, you didn't call me back and let me know how you were doing? I was worried. And I said, well, you weren't there for me when I needed you. And he said, well, what's this about it? You need a car? And I said, yeah, I need a car. I need to get to work. And my ex had 2 Ferraris, a Corvette, and a Jag, and he said, yeah, you could borrow the van. I said, the van? You must not love me. And that was the end of that relationship. So, he's right. I'm selfish, and I'm self-centered. I was then. I'm not so much anymore now, and it's really awesome. I get to talk to my friends and get to know what's going on in their lives and shut up for a while. And this program has done a complete 180 on my life, and I hope for the newcomers that you stick around. When I came here, I just wanted to get clean for about 6 months, just to get my act in order, just to get a clear head. Now I don't even want to take the chance with a glass of wine or anything. It's not worth the way I used to feel. So I thank you for my sobriety. Thanks for letting me share. Thank you.